Welcome back to Local Garden Queens. Gonna do another walk around the garden today. Show you the peas, show you the herbs, and talk about the plans for next week. You can see the pea plants are loaded up. They're pulling on the trellises. I hope they don't snap. We'll see what happens. Let me bring you in here. There's peas everywhere and flowers. A lot of production here. I've been picking them for a couple of days now. And the back trellises, you could see the bee plants toppled over. I think on the tops they got too heavy with peas and they just collapsed. This actually happens every season. The trellises need to be higher, probably maybe, I think 2 more feet higher for them not to topple over, but you can see there's windows behind here and they're not mine. So I don't want to interfere with the neighbor's views. I have to keep the trellises low. Maybe next gardening season I'm not gonna plant these. Let's take a look at the cilantro. The bee plants kind of collapsed into them, but the cilantro is doing great. You see at the end here, one of the cilantro plants, you can see it has different leaves. It's getting ready to bolt, shoot up flowers. So I definitely need to pick the cilantro soon. Let's go past the roses that are blooming nicely for the pollinators and go over to the other side of the garden. You can see the mulch path is breaking down. And the peas here are doing well as well. Let's take a look in the back, some more peas and cilantro. I did some weeding a couple of days ago and I picked some of the cilantro to free up space for the kale, the green onion, because they weren't getting too much sun. And take a look in here, Cuban oregano. It's doing good. Let's go over more kale here. I'm probably going to pick some more cilantro to free up more sunlight for them. Planted some green onion. You can see here, they're just starting to come up. And some more in this row. The yellow squash, doing good, sending up true leaves. And the 2 yellow squash here as well. If you notice here, the soil looks dark. This is compost. I threw down some compost a couple of days ago everywhere in the garden. Little feeding for the start of the growing season. For the start of the summer growing season. Let's take a look at the herb bed. Oregano, doing good. Looks like it's gonna start flowering soon. I haven't had a reason to use it in cooking yet, but maybe I'll come up with something. And you see the bed of fennel. On the side here we have the jalapeno pepper leafing out, and I think we are gonna get our first flowers soon. Of course, I put the compost down here as well, and what I did was I dropped some mulch on top to keep the compost moist, and whatever insects and organisms are there to break down the compost and feed the soil so they're not exposed to sunlight. They like it dark and moist. Let me walk on over to the currants. You see the flower buds here from the other plants in front of the currants. I'm gonna open soon. And let's take a look at the currants. Of course, some mulching underneath. And there's a slug right there. Let's take a look at these currant berries. All right, they're getting bigger. No color change yet though. Still waiting. Let me show you. This is the compost that I used. Compliments of New York City. They said this was wood chips and mainly food scraps. I'm hoping there's nothing else in there, but that's what I had available for free, so I will use it. So as I walk over to where I started the tour, let me tell you about what happened with the zucchini and the cucumbers. Last week I said I was going to plant out the seeds that I had left indoors. I decided to just plant them in the beds because the temperatures were perfect. We've been upper 70s, low 80s, around 60 at night. This is perfect temperature for the seeds to sprout. It's been moist. We've been getting rain, not too much rain though, and the seeds never sprouted. So I had to make a decision, obviously, that the seeds aren't viable. The plan is going to be later today, I'm going to buy some starts of cucumbers and zucchini, and I'll plant them in these compost prepared and weeded areas here. So everything is ready. The soil is ready to be planted in. Also, you can see among the web of peas, you can see some dill growing here. Let me show you around. There is where I plan to put in the cucumbers. Kind of hard to get in here. Let me come in and show you inside the row. Okay. So the plan is the cucumbers are gonna climb up the tall trellises, and by the time they reach the top, the peas should be dying out and the cucumbers will take over. So that's the plan for the garden. That's the plan for the summer plants. And as always, like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to comment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.